and welcome. This is Ameco and you're watching our daily updates live from the studio. I am Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. The National Disaster Risk Management Commission criticized those who have been politicizing droughts, stating that international organizations, the government and other stakeholders have confirmed in their assessment that what is happening in Ethiopia is a drought, not a famine. Modom Luye tells us more.
Disaster Risk Management Commission Commissioner Shifarao Takalamaryam condemned the politicization of humanitarian aid and called on all actors to take a share in the humanitarian response in the country. The Commissioner stressed the need for coordinated and well-funded response by pertinent international actors to prevent further deterioration. The government has rescued the lives of its citizens by allocating additional resources when humanitarian organizations abruptly stopped their support without any notice. The Commissioner further pointed out that studies and surveys conducted by international organizations and other stakeholders, including FUSNET and the government itself, confirmed the fact that what is happening in Ethiopia is a drought, not a famine. Shifarao also indicated that the UK minister, who recently visited affected areas, has also confirmed the absence of famine-like conditions. The Commissioner stated that the current situation does not meet the definition of famine. This stands in contrast to claims of impending catastrophe used for propaganda purposes.
There are intents of politicization and also intents of propaganda would like to use the current humanitarian situation for something else. Or it's like if they feel, as I said earlier, anyone and something is moving towards the famine direction, now they have to stop all other activities, all development activities, all projects, all meetings, all unnecessary luxury type of things to reach out to the victims.
The Commissioner further stated that all stakeholders at all levels of the government structure, including regional states, communities and the private sector, need to play their part. The government, through the Commission, is now deploying a huge amount of resource to address the most neediest people.
Everyone to do their own share properly. The partner to do their own share. The government will continue to do what it is doing. The regional states to do their level best again, and also make sure whatever resources we are getting into the regions is reaching the beneficiary without any misuse or misdirection, or even people call it a diversion. So if that is taking place, if we are getting the resource that is being sent from the Commission as properly as it is possible, because they are actually the ones who are handling those distributions.
Shifarao added there are also challenges in Somali and Oromia regions as well as other parts of the country. The Commissioner explained despite significant contributions from the government, $200 million in the past 6 months, the response is hampered by a lack of resources. Shifarao emphasizes the importance of ensuring aid reaches intended beneficiaries and condemns any misuse or diversion of resources.
The humanitarian resource contribution has been declining all the time. For example, last year, the humanitarian requirement plan was for about $4 billion. Out of it, we received only 1.3 billion, which also is not coming to us, which goes to all kinds of UN partners to do their job, and it was only 33%.
Robust monitoring mechanisms are in place to track aid distributions. The government has pre-positioned 50,000 tons of food for distribution in the coming months and is working with partners like USAID and the World Food Programme to expand assistance. The Commissioner stressed the need for a coordinated and well-funded response with a view to preventing further deterioration of the situation.
World Bank appreciated Ethiopia's progress and reaffirmed the bank's steadfast commitment to support the government of Ethiopia to ensure universal energy access for the citizens. Branu Gismao tells us more.
The Ministry of Finance and the World Bank jointly conducted a workshop on energy sector reform in Addis Ababa. The Ministry of Water and Energy, Ethiopian Electric Power, Ethiopian Electric Utility, Ethiopian Investment Holdings and other key stakeholders have also participated at the workshop. Opening of the workshop, Ministry of Finance Ahmed Shide emphasized the importance of having enough clean energy that's affordable, accessible and high quality for the citizens. Moreover, he stated that the energy sector is the core of the country's economy, as its infrastructure development can stimulate and attract more high-quality investment that contributes to rapid and sustainable development. Ahmed acknowledged the World Bank for financing the large portfolio operations under implementation in the sector, referring energy sector reform as one of the target areas under the upcoming homegrown economic reform. Ahmed requested continued support from the bank for the reform agenda, indicating the need for huge investment and collaboration of key partners and stakeholders to achieve the desired outcomes set by the government. Minister of Water and Energy Habtamu Itefa highlighted the progress made so far in the energy sector related to access, transmission, distribution and improving services. He also expressed gratitude to the bank for its valuable technical assistance and urged continued collaboration. World Bank's country director for Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan and South Sudan, Osman Dion, appreciated Ethiopia's progress and reaffirmed the bank's steadfast commitment to supporting the government of Ethiopia's endeavors to ensure universal energy access for the citizens. Consecutive discussion sessions were made at the workshop on universal energy access, sustainable financing for energy expansion, and structural and regulatory reforms, whereby different milestones were set for further deliberation and effort to advance the energy sector reform agenda, according to Finance Ministry.
African Ambassadors Group in Geneva held discussions on preparations for the new round of negotiations at the WHO on pandemic accord in the amendments of the international health regulations. Ethiopia, as coordinator for health matters of the African Ambassadors Group in Geneva, in collaboration with the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, organized a workshop for African ambassadors, according to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In light of the anticipated May 2024 deadline, the Africa Group once again emphasized the necessity of having tangible outcomes to operationalize equity in both instruments. The permanent mission of Ethiopia in Geneva as the coordinator of the African Group on Health Matters will continue to facilitate that Africa speaks in one voice. Chinese ambassador to Ethiopia, Zhao Ziyuan, said that the year 2023 marks a remarkable improvement in Ethiopia-China relations as cooperation between the two countries is gaining momentum across various fields. Vivian Dilnesat tells us more.
The Chinese embassy in Ethiopia celebrated the Chinese Lunar New Year tonight along with Ethiopian friends in Addis Ababa. The celebration was attended by Director General of Middle East, Asia and Pacific Affairs at the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Gabayo Gangai, and other dignitaries. In his keynote address to the event, Ambassador Ziyuan described the 2023 as a challenging year for the world. The ambassador recalled that the global economic recovery encountered many difficulties and regional conflicts broke out in many parts of the world. Expressing his gratitude to Ethiopian friends for joining to celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year, Ambassador Ziyuan noted that 2023 has been an extraordinary year for the relationship between China and Ethiopia. Ziyuan also recalled that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Chinese President Xi Jinping met twice in 2023. In the same year, Prime Minister Abiy attended the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation and paid his second and successful official visit to China. Ziyuan added the two countries are working and cooperating in many global initiatives beyond the bilateral ties. According to the ambassador, the two countries has been working together in implementing the global development, security and other initiatives. The ambassador elaborated, the two countries also have opportunities to surely benefit the people of Ethiopia and China by promoting a shared future. Ambassador Ziyuan said, Ethiopia and China need to consolidate their always-there strategic partnership. It was indicated that art troupe from central Chinese Henan province staged a stunning performance together with their Ethiopian fellow artists as part of the Spring Festival, the Chinese New Year celebrations.
Ethiopia's ambassador to UAE, Omar Hussein, said Ethiopia is working hard to further bolster its relation with neighboring countries that can be exemplary to other countries. Brown Workana has the details.
In an exclusive interview with INA, Ethiopia's ambassador to United Arab Emirates, Ambassador Omar Hussein, said, among efforts being underway to enhance relations with neighboring countries, investment in the infrastructure works can be mentioned as an example. Ethiopia has been carrying out various activities in areas of road, electricity and trade to strengthen ties with neighboring countries. In order to ensure peace and stability in the Horn of Africa, the country has played a major role in establishing peace in Sudan, Somalia and South Sudan by applying the principle of African solutions to African problems. Ethiopia will continue to strengthen its efforts to create regional ties based on mutual benefit with neighboring countries. The recent Memorandum of Understanding signed between Ethiopia and Somaliland is not different from this venture, except the fact that this partnership is for access to the sea. The ambassador stated that such relations have a great contribution to enhance people-to-people relations more than anything else, and they have economic importance too. According to the ambassador, investments made by the two sides in this regard is not limited to the two, but goes beyond the region and will directly or indirectly bring regional integration and may also have impact on the world. The ambassador believes that many of the security problems in the Horn of African countries are related to economy in addition to political issues. Such economic development works can at least solve economic problems and then political issues. Ambassador Umar finally noted that Ethiopia deserves support as its population and economy are growing fast. These issues need to be explained seriously and grievances, if any, could be resolved peacefully. Ethiopia's ambassador to Somalia, Mukhtar Mohammed, said on his part, despite some challenges, Ethiopia and Somalia have enjoyed excellent relations in various areas of cooperation. The ambassador explained that Ethiopia has been fighting Al-Shabaab by deploying its troops for the sake of peace and security in Somalia. The Memorandum of Understanding Ethiopia signed with Somaliland is not to harm anyone but to develop together on the principle of win-win principle. Mukhtar pointed out that Ethiopia's move to get access to the sea is not a question of harming others but of developing together. Ambassador Mukhtar elaborated the Ethiopian government has the desire and belief to solve problems in this regard through dialogue, the principle of give and take, international laws and the value of African brotherhood. Mukhtar noted that Al-Shabaab poses a great threat in Somalia, hindering development. In this regard, Ethiopia and Somalia have been working together for decades, and the two countries have great hope to develop, grow together and boost cooperation.
As we proceed to news beyond borders, U.S. Central Command CENTCOM said in a statement the U.S. carried out more strikes against Houthi missiles in Yemen. CENTCOM said U.S. forces struck a land attack cruise missile and 4 anti-ship missiles that were prepared to launch against ships in the Red Sea. The latest action comes a day after the joint U.S.-UK strikes on Houthi targets. It follows continued attacks by the Iran-backed group on military and commercial ships in the Red Sea. The Houthis' attacks have forced major shipping companies to avoid the waterway, impacting international trade. Egypt has said its revenue from the Suez Canal plunged by almost half in January, with the number of ships traveling through the key trade artery last month down by more than a third. Saturday's joint US-UK strikes lit up the night sky in the south of Yemen's capital city of Sana'a, with one human rights activist and local residents telling the BBC houses were shaking. Houthi officials struck a defiant tone in response to the US-led strikes and vowed to respond. Reacting to Saturday's strikes, the group's military spokesman Yahya Saria wrote on X, "These attacks will not deter us from our moral, religious and humanitarian stance in support of the resilient Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip and will not go unanswered or unpunished," as BBC reported it. As trucks carrying humanitarian aid entered the Gaza Strip on Sunday through the Rafah border crossing with Egypt, there were increasing concerns over the humanitarian situation in the Palestinian enclave. The delivery of much-needed aid to Gaza's 2.3 million people has been further complicated by a decision by several donor countries to post funds for the United Nations Refugee Agency for Palestinians, for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, and the Humane Humanitarian Agency in Gaza. More than a dozen countries, including the United States, announced they would suspend contributions for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, following Israeli allegations that 12 of the agency's workers participated in the 7th October attacks in Israel. The UN organization was created in 1949 to help Palestinians displaced during the 1948 war following Israel's declaration of independence, and continues to play a pivotal role in the Gaza enclave. Aid groups and other UN agencies have urged donors to continue supporting for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, warning that a failure to do so could have catastrophic consequences for the people of Gaza. Health officials in Gaza say more than 27,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children, have been killed in the Israel ground and air campaign, as Africa News reported it. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of Ameco programs.